to your mind when I say relationship?
I think what comes to my mind when you say relationship is sort of the bond between two people, and it can be either there's the obviously like romantic relationship, but then it can also be a relationship between friends and how you're bonded together. But it also, I think, can be a relationship between things. So you might have something that you're passionate about. So for me, serving at church is something that I'm passionate about, and therefore I have a relationship with. So it's just something that you have, it's a bond of some sort. It's something that you are bonded to because you really, really like that. And so you can have a negative relationship too, I think, with things, something that you don't like, but you're still attached to it for somehow. Like going to school for some people can be a negative relationship because it's something that you have to do, but it's something that you don't necessarily like. So it's a connection between two things.
What comes to your mind when I say vulnerability?
That is actually a very interesting question because I just watched, well, I didn't just watch, but a couple of weeks ago in my religion class at school, we watched Brene Brown's TED Talk on vulnerability, and it's a really good vulnerability, not really good, it's a really interesting TED Talk about vulnerability and what comes about as to being vulnerable. So she found that the people who were most happy and felt worthy and loved in their community were vulnerable, but they also being vulnerable was one of the 4 things that they did. So I think it's something that shows your weaknesses, but at the same time, it allows other people to help you and support you through those weaknesses. So being vulnerable often, I think, has a negative connotation in society, but I also agree with Brene Brown how it can support you and help you feel worthy because it allows other people to help you, and you are allowed to reach out to them through vulnerability.
Okay. Anyway, in a few seconds. Okay. Blanking. Okay. What is an important relationship in your life and why?
I have a lot of important relationships in my life, and it's hard to choose just one. I would say my relationship with St. Stephen's has been a really important one because since my baptism when I was a little baby to now as I'm about to enter in my senior year of high school, they've really helped me grow. And I've had a lot of different sort of surrogate parents who sort of helped raise me up, from Stephanie, Danae, Jonathan Myers, Dave Baylor, Nancy Menard, Jeff and Elizabeth. All these people have sort of helped raise me up, and they've helped me build a relationship with my faith and with St. Stephen's. I would also say my relationship with my mom is a really important one to me. It hasn't always been the strongest, but now I feel like I'm at a point where I have a really good relationship with my mom, and I'm very thankful because that's not something a lot of teenagers have, and especially teenage girls, but I feel like that's something that's very helpful, and she's been such a great support, and I really love my mom for that. So, yeah.
Okay. When is the time you felt vulnerable?
Vulnerable.
Thank you. That's such a hard word to say.
When is the time that I have felt vulnerable? So I'm a type 1 diabetic, and I feel like times that I'm vulnerable is when I'm meeting new people and I have to say to them I'm a type 1 diabetic, and it's not something I say first when I meet them. It's something that I have to feel comfortable with that person first, and then I try to say it to them. And it's something that, I don't know, it's not something I'm proud of, but it's something that I deal with in a confident manner, diabetes. So I feel like having some sort of disease makes people feel bad for you, or it could be seen as sort of a sob story or, oh, woe is me, but that's not how I view having diabetes. So I think sort of opening it up and sort of saying, hey, yes, I have diabetes, but please know that that doesn't stop me. And that's something I'm trying to get better with as I meet new people, and as I move on to other things in my life and try to build new relationships, is using my diabetes as a stage of vulnerability to say, yes, I have this, but that doesn't make me any less of a person. So that's a time where I feel vulnerable. And when I build relationships.
Is there a Bible or faith story that the relationship, no, that, typo, it says that twice.
Just continue.
Okay. Is there a Bible or faith story that relationships and vulnerability remind you of?
My favorite Bible story is the Bible story of Job. And so Job's relationship with God is tested because God throws all of this bad stuff at him, thing after another, and it's sort of an argument between God and Satan. And so they're trying to sort of battle it out and see who's greater. So Job has to be at the center of this and has to have all these things thrown at him. And he's like, okay, what is going on here? And Job's relationship with God is really being tested because he's like, why do I deserve this? I'm a good person. Why do I deserve all these bad things? And sort of like it's sort of the moral of why do bad things happen to good people? And I think that is a true story of testing relationships and sort of putting yourself in a vulnerable spot too. He's like, I don't know what's happening, God, and what is becoming of our relationship. So he sort of has to turn towards God and choose who he's going to turn to, either Satan or God, and be like, woe is me, help me out here. So I think that's a really good story to look at when looking for relationships.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
This pretty much
all.
wraps it up.
Fabulous.